Karen's obsession with controlling every aspect of my property escalated once again when she threatened my wheelchair ramp. She claimed it violated HOA guidelines, insisting it be removed immediately. Her arrogance and ignorance were astonishing. She seemed to believe that a few pieces of paper and a title she didn't fully understand could override the rights, safety, and accessibility of an entire household. But she had miscalculated entirely. Instead of reacting impulsively, I calmly documented her threats, detailing the times, dates, and content of her communications. Every attempt to intimidate became a piece of evidence, a step in building a narrative of entitlement and overreach that would ultimately work against her. Karen didn't understand that her insistence on control had exposed her to legal consequences she could not escape. The moment she threatened accessibility, a federally protected right, she had crossed into territory where her HOA authority had absolutely no sway. When she escalated further, I responded strategically by initiating disability judicial proceedings. This wasn't about retaliation. It was about ensuring that the law protected those she sought to harm. My case was airtight, carefully documented, and grounded in clear statutes. Karen arrived at the proceedings, unaware that she was about to face someone who understood not only the law but also how to leverage it decisively. Every threat she had made, every attempt to intimidate, had been anticipated, and the courtroom became a stage for her unraveling. Karen's frustration was evident. She tried to assert dominance verbally, hoping to intimidate or belittle, but her words fell flat against the weight of documentation, legal expertise, and strategic planning. Each argument she presented was systematically dismantled, her overreach exposed, and her credibility diminished. The judge, already familiar with the patterns of HOA overreach, quickly recognized the legitimacy of the claim and the unlawfulness of her threats. What she intended as control turned into humiliation, her arrogance on full display for all involved. Beyond the courtroom, Karen's actions continued to backfire. Her repeated attempts to threaten accessibility had drawn attention from neighbors and HOA members alike. Whispers began circulating about her behavior, her authority questioned at every turn. The narrative was clear. Karen had overstepped, and the consequences were unavoidable. Every move she made now carried the weight of scrutiny, making future attempts at intimidation increasingly risky and ineffective. By the conclusion of the proceedings, Karen had learned a critical lesson, albeit the hard way. Threatening the safety and accessibility of others is not only morally reprehensible but legally indefensible. She had assumed she could impose her will with impunity, only to find herself confronted by law, preparation, and strategy. Her reputation suffered, her authority diminished, and her ego bruised, leaving her increasingly isolated and aware that crossing the wrong household carries consequences far greater than she had imagined. Karen's threat to my wheelchair ramp was more than a minor dispute. It was a moment that revealed her true nature, her ignorance of the law, and the limits of her HOA authority. It was a lesson in humility, a demonstration of how entitlement collides with preparedness, and yet another victory in an ongoing saga that showed the consequences of underestimating the wrong person. In the end, Karen had attempted to intimidate, but she was the one left exposed, powerless, and facing the ramifications of her own arrogance.